We're here at Estoril in Portugal, about to get ready to ride the BMW HP4 Race. Now I'm really excited about this one. The stats are just mind-blowing. It weighs 146 kilos dry, 171 kilos fully fueled, and makes 215 horsepower. Now the reason it's so light is because it's got a carbon fibre frame which weighs 4 kilos less than the standard aluminium version. It's new technology from BMW which comes from their car world, which has allowed them to mass produce the frame. They can make the frame in literally 1 or 2 hours. It's not hand laid, it's all done by automation. And the process they use allows them to make the frame stiff in certain areas, flexible in certain areas, so you get a lot of feel. So I'm looking forward to riding on that. I've had a lot of experience on S1000 RRs over the years. I've been racing them for 7 years. We've done countless MCN tests, so this really is going to be interesting to see how a carbon frame affects this bike. It's got blueprinted engine, it's got hairier cams, it's got close ratio gearbox, it's got new electronics and an audible traction control and anti-wheelie control, which it didn't have before. So theoretically you'll be able to hear when the thing's losing traction, so it should give you more confidence. The suspension is top quality. It's Öhlins TTX 36 GP at the rear. It's got World Superbike Öhlins forks, World Superbike nickel-coated Brembo calipers with titanium-coated pistons. The carbon fibre wheels are 30% lighter than even the forged aluminium wheels, and they're really strong and really durable. They've been through loads and loads of crash tests, and they're actually stronger, as is the frame, than the metal version. And if you think when things like A380 jets are made out of carbon fibre, there's no real worry anymore about carbon fibre being brittle or wanting to break like it did do in the old days. So there's a lot to look forward to here. I've had a look at the bikes already and they're absolutely stunning. I mean, the S1000 RR is quite a recognisable shape, and you could look at this quickly and not realise how special it is, but when you zone in on it and see like the shape of the World Superbike inspired swing arm, the tail unit's a little bit stubbier than normal. It's got a brushed aluminium tank, carbon fibre bodywork. It is absolutely delicious, and I'm hoping it's going to be just as good to ride. This is what makes the HP4 Race so special, is its carbon fibre frame and wheels. Now this is the standard frame on the standard S1000 RR, made of cast aluminium in 3 sections. So you've got the headstock, you've got the swing arm pivot section, and then you've got the main frame rails. These have to be welded together, and it's quite heavy. I think this is something like just over 11 kilos, so it's a fair old chunk. This is 4 kilos lighter. And BMW have managed to find a way of automating the carbon fibre manufacturing process, and it's using lessons learned from their BMW cars, the i8, the i3. So this is actually made in one piece, and this makes it the largest single component on the S1000 RR. And what they've been able to do as a result of this new manufacturing process is play about with the flexibility of the frame. So in a forward direction, it needs to be very, very stiff. And in a sideways direction, when you're leaning over, you need some flex for feel. It's very difficult to achieve that with a metal frame because if you make it weak in one area, you tend to make it weak everywhere. Whereas on this, they've been able to fine tune it. And not only have you got different flex characters to the standard metal frame, it's lighter as well. So lightweight is good for everything. It's good for braking, acceleration, performance, and fuel economy as well. So in the future, when emissions become more and more of a problem for manufacturers, bikes are going to have to get lighter, which is good for everybody. And because this can be mass produced, there's maybe rumours that this might find its way into a road bike at some point in the near future, which is really, really good news. The wheels are made in the same way. These weigh absolutely nothing. The tyre will probably weigh more than this wheel, and this is filled with foam as well, just to cut down on vibration. So not only have we got carbon fibre frame, cutting edge electronics, the suspension and the brakes are the highest spec you'll find on any production bike. So we've got O-Lins as you'd expect. These are FGR 300 World Superbike forks. Not only do they work amazingly well, they're just works of art to look at. And we've got a TTX 36 GP rear shock, both fully adjustable. Then we move on to the brakes. Now these brakes, again, they're works of art. These are nickel-plated Brembo monoblock radial calipers. They've got titanium-coated pistons inside. And these are exactly the same as what you'll find in World Superbike and British Superbike. And they're actually derived from the brakes that MotoGP use in the wet. So obviously they run steel brakes in the wet and carbons in the dry. Now, because BMW building 750 HP4 races, they went to Brembo and said, we need all these calipers. And in actual fact, Brembo have made more calipers for this bike than they've made in the last 5 years for all of their racing exploits. So very special pieces of kit indeed. These brake pads race spec. They've got a nice initial feel, and then the braking power when you squeeze the lever is just phenomenal. And that's all down to the World Superbike and BSB discs, 6mm thick, and Brembo master cylinders. So in terms of suspension and brakes, you're not going to find better unless you've got a factory race bike. This is a very, very special machine. It costs £68,000. Only 750 are going to be built, and they arrive in dealers in September 2017, and they're race only. You can't put this bike on the road. It makes 215 bhp and weighs just 146 kilos dry, and that's 3 kilos lighter than a KTM 390 Duke, which is an A2 licensed learner machine. And that puts into perspective just how impressive this bike is. In terms of the full superbike experience, the BMW HP4 Race just comes so close, it's not funny. Riding this bike, it's like a cardboard cutout of a S1000RR. Just rolling down the pit lane here at Estoril, there's just a complete lack of weight. And the lack of weight just helps you in every respect. It makes the steering nice and light, it gives you more vivid acceleration, it helps you on the brakes, helps you change direction. The more you ride this bike, the easier it is to ride. When you first jump on it, it feels quite aggressive and sensory overload, and you initially left thinking how far away your limit is away from this bike, which is up there somewhere. And I think really, to get the best out of this bike, you need to be a factory racer. You know, the likes of you and me are never going to even touch the surface of what this thing's capable of. But equally, it's quite user-friendly as well. Okay, the engine makes a lot of power and it's quite gruff and it's quite rough and it pops and bangs and spits flames with all its electronics doing its thing. But the throttle response is really smooth, the power delivery is quite flat, but it just accelerates like a maniac. Luckily, it's got really good electronics on it. It's an evolution of the S1000RR electronics. They make a noise because it's ignition cut, so as soon as you get on the throttle and you can feel it popping and banging, it just gives you the confidence to really twist the throttle. And of course you can turn all the electronics off if you're not a fan of them. Handling is just incredible as well with this suspension and the way the frame gives you feel at full lean. You know, handling limit is right up there, as is the grip of the tyres we're using today. Pirelli SC2 racing slicks. Brakes are phenomenal. Just everything about it is you know, it's hard to put into words just how impressive it is. It's quite a roomy bike as well. The bars are really wide and flat. The seat unit can be adjusted in 3 levels. This is the all-in-one seat unit, so you can just unbolt it and move it up and down. So that makes the thing very roomy as well, especially for a tall rider, and that makes you more comfortable when you're on track. An obvious comparison is going to be how this compares with the Superleggera we rode recently. And you wait all your life for a carbon frame motorbike to come out and then 2 arrive at the same time. But this is actually 10 kilos lighter, dry, makes the same power. And the characters of the road bikes are there. You know, this is easier to ride than the Ducati, as it is in road form as well. Head to head on the track, there probably wouldn't be that much in it, but you're going to be working harder on the Ducati. And of course this is track only, whereas the Ducati you can ride it on the road. And because it's track only, it's just that little bit racier. It's got racier suspension, racier brakes, and it doesn't have to adhere to any Euro 4 limits. You know, that's our test ride done for today. We've only done a session on it. You know, in that small time, I've grown to want it so badly it hurts.